applesauce, bitch.
You want to talk about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon?
Yeah.
These two Cambridge kids, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. You know, they're now what? They're probably approaching 60, 55 years old, something like that. These guys are getting older. They're some of the greatest film artists who have ever lived at this. I mean, I think they have found their spot in film history, these two guys.
Yeah, very interesting. And they're famously, they were apart for a while they're, in their marriages and divorces and all that, whatever they're doing. They were kind of apart, and they're coming together again and later in life. So it's kind of an interesting journey they've been and they were on their separate pursuits, obviously.
Matt Damon's been in so many great movies, it's almost hard to remember them all. You're like, oh yeah, that.
Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday.
So we watched them on a recent Joe Rogan interview. I also watched, there was some other Sirius satellite, maybe it was Howard Stern I was watching them on. Ben Affleck was saying that Matt Damon famously was very selective with his movies, much more so than, he was like, Matt Damon never would have been in Phantoms, but he's like, for me it was $250,000 and I thought I was set for life with $250K.
We had the rent covered,
Still, you turn down movies that I think, or to even turn down the opportunity to audition for movies that 99.9% of other young actors wouldn't have. I did this horror movie, a Dean Koontz sewer monster movie called Phantoms, because it was $250,000, and I thought it was going to be set for life.
But obviously Good Will Hunting was where they kind of exploded onto the scene. They both wrote it, and huge starring vehicle for Matt Damon. They won an Oscar.
Robin Williams, who delivered some straight lines, Minnie Driver, who's performed as brilliant, Stellan Skarsgård, who was great.
Your brother.
My brother Casey, who's brilliant in the movie. Cole Hauser, my mother,
John
and Matt's mother, the most beautiful women here.
My dad right over there.
And
Jack said hi to you.
And
all right.
Who else?
John Gordon from Miramax.
John Gordon. Chris Moore produced the movie.
Chris Moore.
And then, with all the Jennifers and all the rest of it, Affleck makes a huge comeback, in like 2008 with Gone Baby Gone and The Town and Argo. Right, that's like three. Those three. That was a really amazing run. There was nothing that promised that Ben Affleck would be a great director, but it turned out he was a truly great storyteller. Since Argo, I feel like, I'm not sure he's really done anything all that special in that area. Of course, Matt Damon departed, and he's been, Interstellar and Saving Private Ryan, and I mean, you name it, man. Like, Matt Damon's been in all of them.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
He is but we got to give it to Matt Damon. He is a likable guy, is he not? Like, he's a very palatable dude. Whereas I think Affleck's like not as likable. Affleck's a little bit kind of keyed up, kind of like a recovering alcoholic.
He's like he's a chain smoker and alcoholic.
Like a little bit like a chain smoker. Like he's like kind of had it for the day. You know what I mean?
It's like the famous meme of him like outside with the Dunkin' Donuts.
I feel bad for him. It's obvious. Like I saw this interview with him years ago where he was like, people want to be rich and famous. Take rich. I'm not so sure about famous.
Like, people go, man, I want to be rich and famous. Like, take rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Famous is not gonna make you happy.
But Project Greenlight, I love that show, the one where they got Miramax to put up a bunch of money for young filmmakers. And it's clear that these guys all along, even though they became movie stars, and kind of like pop movie stars to some degree. But Matt Damon was talented, Mr. Ripley as well, right? Yeah, I mean, there's so many movies. They were at the epicenter of that kind of early 2000s art film. The ones that were commercial, the ones that actually like did well in theaters and then did well on DVD. Remember Matt Damon talking all about how DVD was a major part of the business model, and that's all gone away with streaming?
Well, so what happened was the DVD was a huge part of our business, of our revenue stream. And technology has just made that obsolete.
So here they are in 2026 promoting a Netflix movie called The Rip, which we've both seen. Spoilers, it's like not a great movie.
No, it's not good. I mean, yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's like it's a Netflix movie. It's a watchable.
A normie might enjoy this movie, Do you feel like these two are overqualified for this one?
Yeah, we've always we've been saying with especially with our top five, we're like, oh, we like it when a piece of media respects the audience's intelligence. It's similar to Weapons, where there's mystery boxes or mysteries, but the mysteries when they're revealed, they make sense and they respect your intelligence. I love. They all come from you, like you said, a place of story. The Rip assumes that the audience has no intelligence.
Yeah. It's for if Redbox was still a thing, this would be a Redbox movie.
It's a Redbox. Like there's things I appreciate. I think the middle of the movie is very like a good thriller, a good tense.
For those who care, it's like it's a very digital movie. It's there's something about it that feels kind of half baked. But the two of them play cops on like a drug busting team in Miami, or they investigate money of ill-gotten gains from drug abusers and this kind of thing. And one of the cops on the squad was murdered, and they're trying to figure out by who or for what. And there's some suspicion that it might be from dirty cops who are taking from these stashes of money. They're pursuing one such, for the night, and it becomes double crosses and triple crosses, and who's the dirty cop and who's the honest cop. And they try to fake you out early on by making Ben Affleck seem like the untrustworthy badass one and Matt Damon the solid one, and they play with who's trustworthy and who's not, and just to fake you out again.
They flip it and they flip it again. They flip it a third time. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of. Like whenever I visit my parents, they're always watching some like derpy, super serious cop show, and it's like all it is like people talking really serious, and there's always like 3 twists because there's like
why do old people like that crap?
There's always like the fake villain and the real villain. It's like every single episode's the same. So that's what it reminds me of.
But these two are overqualified for such a movie, and they're in Miami, and yet I feel like my memory of the movie is that they had Boston accents the whole time. Shut the fuck up, Jackie. No, we're not going here for the fucking Rip, Jackie.
And it takes place in like one building. Like you wouldn't know it's Miami,
but the whole and also like the last like 20 minutes, like the whole thing crescendos with Kyle Chandler's in it. That actor Kyle Chandler.
Yeah, he's in Friday Night Lights and all that. Yeah,
and he played Casey Affleck's brother in Manchester by the Sea. So maybe he knows these guys very well. I like him. I think he's a really interesting actor. Actually, I like the way he looks. He was the movie star in the male movie star in Peter Jackson's King Kong.
And Glenn from Walking Dead is in this too, playing the other cop there, the Asian actor.
Right. Glenn. Yes, Glenn. For a minute, I thought you were talking about Shane, and I was like, "That he wasn't in this, was he? The Punisher?"
he seemed like he would be in it, but no.
Yeah. He just happens to fucking be there too, and he's from Massachusetts, but he's a fake Massachusetts guy. Ben Affleck has that. Like, I don't know. He's playing that like bully version of himself from Mallrats, where he's like, "Hey, fuck you! Hey, fuck you!"
Yeah.
What, you want to say something?
Yeah, about a million things, but I can't express myself monosyllabically enough for you to understand them all.
Asshole.
Prick.
Fuck you.
What the hell was that all about?
There's a lot of like pointing up.
Yeah, they're all doing the fake bravado stuff. Yeah.
What's supposed to be special about this movie is that these guys have gone into business. They now own a film studio called Film Equity or something, some kind of equity film, artist equity or something. But the idea is that the entire crew will get back end rewards for high performance. So if the movie performs better, then everybody gets more back end. And the idea behind I think the logic behind it is something like it's very hard now for anybody to take any risk on movies ever, especially on streaming and everything else. And so like I think they come from the world of making movies for lower budgets. So they're like, we'd like to make more movies for lower budgets and experiment and all the rest of it. But what that means is that you have underpaid crews. And it's a problem to have an underpaid crew because a lot of times like the best movies and the best directors tend to have crews that follow them and are committed to them. So like, well, maybe we give them stakes, and so higher performing movies, everybody is better rewarded.
Yeah. So like maybe they'll try harder to make a better movie with you.
So it's not like it just, like I get paid either way, it put some skin in the game. But they were on Joe Rogan to talk all about that. That turned into talking about the Netflix model because they're obviously making movies for Netflix. And they were talking about how they were like, it's this data informed thing, right? It sounds like Netflix, they probably give you some freedom, but it sounds like they're telling you a whole lot about like people zone out at the 20-minute mark. We learned that in an action film, you have 3 set pieces and they're in each act and each one becomes more expensive, which makes a lot of sense in a theater. 'Cause in a theater, like you want to leave the movie having been really excited by the finale, but they're going like we're battling distracted viewership.
And now they're like, can we get a big one in the first 5 minutes to get somebody, we want people to stay tuned in. And it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue because people are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
And they were talking about how, well, we've felt when we watch like Stranger Things, like they seem like they're like repeating dialogue and repeating plot points just because most people are distracted while they're watching these things. Usually people are on their phones while Netflix is playing or they're doing other things. So you have the characters describe what's going to happen or while it's happening. And so there's redundancy in the information so that nobody's like confused while things are happening.
And they said they were like, we're asked to repeat the plot in dialogue 3 or 4 times to make sure that people are, aren't tuning out. Yeah. So it's like distracted viewership, weird budget. You start to hear like, man, the deck is stacked against films. Like it's really hard for this art form to try to do anything from here. That was kind of interesting. And then that naturally turned into a discussion about AI's threat to film. And I saw everybody was sharing it around on Twitter and elsewhere. But Ben Affleck spoke intelligently about AI. And I think everybody was a little surprised. I'm like, are you still all surprised that Ben Affleck is not a big dummy? I mean, like Ben Affleck has been not stupid for a long time.
If you try to get ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to write you something, it's really shitty. And it's shitty because by its nature, it goes to the mean, to the average. And it's not reliable. And I just can't even stand to see what it writes. Now, it's a useful tool if you're a writer.
Well, yeah, I don't think he's like really ever been like stupid in modern times. And with women, obviously, he just he goes between 2 Jennifers all the time. But I think it also comes from like that Family Guy bit where he like makes like Matt Damon do everything or whatever. While he like smokes weed or something.
Huh? There, finished. Good Will Hunting by Matt Damon.
Hey, you think we could put both our names on that?
What? You've done nothing but eat briars and smoke pot for the last 6 months.
It's funny, but I don't think it's true. I think he's a very thoughtful. He's a thoughtful person, and I think he kind of looks like a dumb like meathead jock or something. There's something about him that looks dumb.
Sylvester Stallone had to deal with this at one time in his life, where everybody just thought he was a big dipshit.
Rocky, do you think you have brain damage?
I don't see any.
No, he's a very smart storyteller. But his the long and short of what he said was like, he's not super worried about AI because, first of all, adoption is somewhat slow. And I think we've been, so like GPT really kind of splashed onto the screen, onto computers or whatever, about 2 years ago, I'd say 2.5 years ago, is where people really, started discussing it regularly. And as much as people might use it as kind of like an enhanced search engine, I don't think your average person is using it to like really soup up their productivity in some major way. I don't think you're seeing that. And he made that point too. He was like, most people who use it are using it as somebody to talk to or somebody to bounce things off of. And he's like, and that's probably not the healthiest thing in the world is to have your computer friend. But he's like, but the point is like, there's not new productivity being produced out of that relationship. So this idea that it's going to threaten industries and stuff, he's like, we'll see. And then OpenAI and all the rest of them, they have to say, hey, buy our product, for their valuation. They have to say, you should invest billions into this because then you'll be able to lay off everybody. They have to kind of overhype like just the effect. And I think if everybody was an exemplary user of AI and knew how to use it extremely effectively, well, then I think it would have a lot of capacity to overturn industries. But since it's not like proper usage requires some sophistication, that's going to be a hurdle for a lot of people. And he was talking about writing. He was like, it certainly can't write your script for you. It might be able to help you if you're like, I'm trying to think of like, what do you call it when you're like putting a letter in the mail, but like it's not going to come for it might be able to help you like get through a plot point. But if you're like, write the scene for me, we all know that's going to come out like absolute shit.
I actually don't think it's very likely that it's going to be able to write anything meaningful, and in particular, that it's going to be making movies like from whole cloth, like Tilly Norwood. Like that's bullshit. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's not. I think it turns out the technology is not progressing in exactly the same way they sort of presented it. And really, what it is going to be a tool. Just like sort of visual effects, and it needs to have language around it. You need to protect your name and likeness. You can do that. You can watermark it.
And then Matt Damon told a really long, really interesting story about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in that whatever that movie was where he played that biopic that he did recently.
Yeah, what was it? The something machine, the
Smashing Machine.
Smashing Machine, yeah.
And he was talking about the scene, a series of scenes where he delivered these really powerful performances. And he asked him about it, and he was talking about like this trauma that he had as a child that he internalized, and that's kind of where it came from. And he was like, that's an artist internalizing something that happened, a real thing that happened to him in his life, and interpreting it into performance. And then me, not knowing anything about his childhood trauma, like being moved by it for some reason that's intangible. And he's like, I don't think AI is doing that.
2 traumatic events from this guy's life, right? From his life experience. And the actor in him, right, sees this scene, goes into his memory, pulls these 2 things out, understands that they're appropriate for this scene, and he can marry them together in the scene. And then he goes and performs it that way. And a dude walking in off the road goes to the movies, sees this, understands somehow that it's fucking real. I didn't know why. That's why I wanted to ask him, how did that scene come to be? I genuinely didn't know. And made me tear up.
And Ben Affleck put a really great button on it where he was like, yeah, that's where like art goes a lot further than photorealistic imagery.
And
there's no fucking AI that can do that.
No. It's a whole lot more than photorealistic images.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, well, the photorealistic imagery thing could really help in certain situations, but this is why it can't possibly I think it's actually like a logical fallacy to think AI is going to come along and make the movie or write the book or maybe like a song can chart, but I don't think it's going to overturn the music industry. I think it'll be a tool used by the music industry for sure.
Yeah, or it'll be a tool used by a capable artist who's thinking about these things, maybe solving a few problems in a movie, but it's not going to make the whole movie. And if somebody does make a whole movie with it, it's not going to resonate with anybody.
I thought these were very sound, specific example type stuff to be like, here's why it's not like the and he kept saying that. He was like, everybody keeps making everything out to be an existential threat. Like, oh my God, the whole thing's about to go to shit. He's like, well, here's why that's not quite true. So really good interview and thoughtful stuff from 2 great, I think some of the greats, honestly. I really do.
Yeah. I know Matt Damon's going to be in the new Christopher Nolan movie, right?
Incredible.
He's going to be in whatever career that guy's had, yeah.
And there was another clip going around in 2003, young Ben Affleck saying, well, if you think about it, in the music industry and in the movie industry, the average person spends about $107 a year on music or movies or something like that. And he's like, and so if those same dollars were instead spent on an annual subscription of some kind instead of on individual products, then there would be less overhead for the studios, more options for the consumer. And it just seems like an obvious model that we could switch over to a subscription-based model. This is 2003.
I think an annual subscription-based system is the one that works. You have the music business, a $3.4 billion a year business, okay, which is largely about 1.7 million people in the country spending $200 a year. That same people would spend those $200 a year each year to have access to basically the entire library of existing music. And of course, you continue to re-up your subscription because you pay for new music. Royalties would be paid more directly to the artists. You have less overhead. You pay no shipping, packaging.
Like 2003, the Netflix DVD mailers were not even yet a huge thing. This dude's gotten it right. I mean, maybe you feel like it's obvious, but I'm not sure it was obvious in 2003.
No, he's a sophisticated. He always surprised. Maybe because I'm fooled by his chiseled good looks or something. Yeah. But I'm like, he's a dummy. He's a dummy. But no, he's not.
There's a lot of great Affleck moments. Obviously, Kevin Smith movies is where he was ingratiated for me.
Look, man, Coey London is pulling your chain, okay? In fact, you even believe him for a minute. Makes you look like a complete fucking idiot.
I'm getting your back, asshole. People don't forget shit like finger cuffs.
But there's that horrible Christmas movie. I think he was like at the height of his alcoholism at this time.
His voice is so different now. Like when I was, even this movie and the Joe Rogan interview, I'm like, ooh, he definitely smoked and drank his way to that voice.
But he was in that terrible movie Surviving Christmas with James Gandolfini and Christina Applegate and Catherine O'Hara. I don't know. It's become like a funny guilty pleasure for me and Nina around Christmas time. We're like, Papa and Surviving Christmas. Let's see the Affleck Christmas movie. And it's a very, very fucking weird Christmas movie because he's like alone for the holidays. And I think he goes back to like his childhood home and other people are living in it. And he's like, hey, can you just pretend? He's like a rich banker or something. He's like, I'll pay you shitloads of money if you pretend I'm your son.
Please let me stay here.
No.
I'll pay you.
My family's not for sale, pal.
Tom, I'll pay you $250,000.
Welcome home, son.
And just like take me in as your family member because it'll help me feel nostalgic around the holidays. There's a scene like he ends up having like Christina Applegate becomes his love interest to keep up appearances. They're saying that he's her brother. So that's where the comedy comes out in the following scene. They're having some argument and everybody's not supposed to overhear them, but they do. And he says something like, oh, and I guess it wasn't weird when we were making out in the kitchen.
Oh, really? So I guess you were just slumming back there when you were making out with me in the kitchen.
The line delivery is just such, it's so Affleck. We're making out in the kitchen. There's some really good like Affleck marathons you could do. You know, the worst of Affleck. Geely, I saw Geely in theaters, that movie with Jennifer Lopez. Very strange film, but not as bad. It's by the guy who directed Scent of a Woman. Like, it's not like a terrible director or anything. It's not fucking Yui Boll or, Neil Breen or something.
Yeah.
It's like a real director. It's kind of got, it's like studio slop, but it's like a crime movie. A lot of swearing, a lot of sex. It's really not, I don't think it's what people think it is, Geely. And it got mixed up with Jersey Girl.
Jersey Girl, yeah.
Poor Kevin Smith. And he had to kill Jennifer Lopez nice and quick to get on to Liv Tyler. Anyway, that's anything left to say on that topic? I don't think so.
No.
Well, anyway, get yourself a retro box.
Yeah, it looks like a good product. I don't know. Looking forward to when what's his name? Was it Mad Little Pixel?
John Riggs and hey guys,
Yeah.
I got a retro box.
Putting his hands all over it.
And Cuba Gooding for showing us how to give our acceptance speech. And all our friends and family. And everybody back in Boston watching us tonight.
And thank you so much, the city of Boston. And God, I know we're forgetting somebody.
Whoever we forgot, we love you and we
love you. And thank you so much.
Oh, really? So I guess you were just slumming back there when you were making out with me in the kitchen.